Welcome back. You're watching Ask Profit on NDTV Profit. Let's dive into the queries again. Now, the next query is from the next counter that we're going to talk about, and we have multiple queries on this counter, which is Suzlon. Now, Ashish, let me take these queries combined. We have one from Lavish from Indore. No, sorry, this one's not Suzlon. Okay, we have Keswan who is talking about Suzlon. We have another one, Daji from Muscat, and Daji's holdings in Suzlon is quite considerable. He's bought 2 lakh shares at a average price of 43 rupees. And we have, I think, one more on Suzlon, which is, let me get the name right here. Okay, there's no name on this one. Viewers, do write your queries with your name and where you're writing from. That'll be so that we'll be able to talk about your query. But coming back, Ashish, on Suzlon, we have 3 viewers talking about this specific stock. Let's talk about the fundamentals on this, and from a longer term perspective. This is a good example of a turnaround story we've seen. And what do you see for the future of this company for the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, I think the turnaround seems to be very real this time, and the company is actually doing very well. It has also managed to improve its balance sheet in a significant way by reducing the debt to almost nil. So, coupled with a very strong balance sheet and good business, prospects going forward, the wind energy is really doing very well. There are a number of new projects coming up. And the good thing also is that at the micro level, their product is very well accepted in the market. In fact, their turbines are perhaps the most preferred ones in the market. So they have a lot of strength now in going forward. The business is improving. Their product is very well accepted, and the leverage has reduced to a very large extent. So all put together, I think this is a great story going forward. The capital, of course, is very large. So the movement may not be as fast as what has happened in the last few quarters. But certainly it's a stock which if you hold for a few years, I think there is plenty of money to be made. The upside looks amazing. Difficult to set a target, but I think it will be a very fantastic journey on the way up in the next 2-3 years.
Right. Suzlon is locked in upper circuit today as well. But let's move on to the next query. This one's from Lavish from Indore. Now, this is on Bajaj Healthcare. They've already bought the stock at 370 a piece. Aditya, from a technical standpoint, they've bought 500 shares at 370, and it's currently trading at 301 rupees a share. So, considerable amount of loss there. Would you suggest holding on to it, or should you maybe book losses and get out?
I think he can hold on to the share right now because stock has already corrected significantly from 500 odd levels to 300. And now I think stock is trading at its important support. So the bad time is already behind us, and time to exit was long back, not now. So at this time, he can hold on, and he can also average the stock with stop loss of 270, and the upside levels which I'm watching out are 330 to 400. So I'm neutral to bullish on this counter.
All right, understood. Next up, we have a question from Geeta on Lemon Tree Hotels. Now, Ashish, we're seeing this tourism sort of now spurring across the world. We're out of that COVID era times, and especially religious tourism that is gaining a lot of traction in the country, and hotels are definitely seeing that sort of uptick in occupancies as well. But let's talk about this specific counter, Lemon Tree Hotels. They've bought the stock from a longer term perspective at 130 a piece. It's trading close to that, 132, and up about 3% in trade. What's your view on this specific sector and specifically on Lemon Trees?
Well, I think the sector is certainly looking very good, as reflected in the share prices of nearly all the major companies, which have done very well in the last few years. Sector is, I think, poised to do very well. The domestic tourism is really looking up, and people are traveling for various reasons, and travel is likely to continue growing up. And there is currently, I think, the demand is much more than the supply, which is also the very good thing. Lemon Tree also is doing very well, has very good properties at various locations, and on various fronts the company is doing very well. So stay invested. I think there are still many more good times to come.
All right, fair point. Next up, we have a question from YouTube. This one's from Sid, and we're talking about Aditya Birla Capital. I think they want to buy into the stock at the current market price. Aditya, would you say that this is the right time? There has been some downtick in the stock, but it's up in trade today about over 1%. Would you suggest buying?
I think the stock has been an underperformer since a while, but now the patterns are changing a little bit. So he can buy the stock with little neutral to bullish expectation. The current price is 172.20. He must keep stop loss of 163 and target must be 183 to 190.
All right, got it. Next up, let's talk about a bank and Canara Bank in the banking space. This one's from Akhil. They've bought the stock at 590 a piece. Ashish, it's a great day for banks today, and yeah, it's up about 2.5%. One of the gainers among, I think there are all gainers in the banking index. If you can pull that up and see the banking index, and look at if that's the case as we speak. Yes, no losers in the banking space today. Ashish, specifically for Canara Bank, what's the long-term perspective based on the fundamentals, and should you stay invested?
I think you should stay invested. I think the public sector banks are having a good run, and after many years, they have the fundamentals which are amazing. The balance sheets of all of them, including Canara Bank, has been cleaned up. There is a huge demand for loans coming up, and they're able to do very well on that front. This has not have been the situation for the last several, I think more than 10 years at least. So although the stocks have moved up a lot, including Canara Bank in the last 1.5 years, I think there is still more room on the upside. And I think continue to stay invested, especially the better ones like Canara Bank, I think still have a significant upside potential.